You're listening to Bulldogs Live. Once again, here's your host, the voice of the Bulldogs, Scott Howard.
Hey, welcome back. Bulldogs Live with Coach Kirby Smart. Our show presented by Wells Fargo, an official sponsor of the Georgia Bulldogs. And hello to our friends from Twisted Tea here tonight. Give yourselves a hand, folks. Let me hear some noise out of you guys. Yeah, we need some energy in here tonight. And Coach Smart is here, and he's going to have some energy on Saturday with, you're going to have a lot of energy going into Knoxville this weekend, Georgia and Tennessee. From your guys, their guys, over 100,000 folks in the stadium. I mean, it's going to be a great atmosphere this weekend.
I'm looking forward to it. It's one of the best venues in college football to play in. Their fan base turns out. They've got a really good football team this year, so it's excitement, that's for sure.
How does your team look after 2 weeks?
Well, they're working hard. The goal is to get better. I mean, that's what you're trying to do. Nobody's perfect at the start of the season. You try to find out, where your holes are. You only go against yourself, and so you start finding more and more out. I don't know that in week 3 everybody's figured, where their holes are or where their weaknesses are. You're constantly trying to improve that, and our guys have taken to the field each and every day and worked really hard, which has made me proud. Do we have a long way to go? Yes, we got a long way to go. We are not there or where we need to be, but I'm pleased with the progress they've made. Good practices for you guys this week? Yeah, there's been good intent. It was a little warm, and we have more I wouldn't say more intense practices when we play Tennessee, because practices are intense all the time regardless of who we play. We have more yardage logged, and I worry about that sometimes because we have to run more. We have to take more snaps defensively just because they average second or third most. I mean, they had 102 snaps last Saturday in their game. That's just absolutely crazy. We've had 55 snaps on defense per game, and they've had 100 snaps.
How much, you mentioned kind of the numbers thing, how much do the metrics and all of those numbers that you were speaking of and GPS numbers and all of the new stuff that probably didn't exist or wasn't used as much maybe 20 years ago, how much does that rule the game now?
I don't know that it rules the game. It's just another part, I mean, everything's become specialized. So you have a person to do this. You have a person to do that. You have the analytics. You have the GPS. So you're trying to get ahead and get an edge, and as science is involved, nobody was thinking about that before. Nobody cared. People spend time on it now and try to use this as an edge.
Is that important to you? Do you pay a lot of attention to that, or are you focused on other things?
No, it's important. It's a factor. I mean, how we practice, how much we run, how much we hit, how much we tackle. I think those decisions are what follow my desk, and they're important. And there's no right answer. It's just what you believe in.
Would you? Last week it was an interesting game. A little bonus time there for the length of it with the weather situation. But what did you take away from the win over Austin Peay last week from your guys?
Well, that we can win in different ways. Win ugly, win with weather, push through really hot early in the game, had some adversity, had some success. It's like just you learn more about your team and how they respond. I'm glad things became difficult. I mean, to go out there and jump on somebody and just beat the hell out of them, I don't know if you get any better doing that. You find out more about your weaknesses and where you can improve.
So you like it when you have to face challenges. I mean, that's a growth process, right, in your team when you run into trouble to see how you're able to overcome it, hopefully.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're gonna run into trouble over the next 7-8 weeks. I can promise you that. I mean, there's hard teams to play. It's not going to be easy. So we find out more about our team when they have adversity, and you have to grow through it. And you're not going to win all the little small moments. You got to try to win more than the opponent.
What did you feel like from an adversity standpoint that you learned about your guys on Saturday?
Well, they responded. We went into the half and, stunk it up there right at the end and had played a pretty good half outside of the turnover. But they responded. They went in the locker room, sat around for a while. I thought we managed that really well. We got pads off, shoes off, rested, got a little shut-eye, and then cranked it back up and came out and had a little energy and enthusiasm when they did. And that's not always an easy circumstance to manage. It's just not easy to manage as a college athlete. You're expecting a game to be some type way, and then it's not. But they didn't care. They just wanted to play football, and they embraced it.
Yeah, and I mean, that's not a situation that you run into with any kind of regularity either. So to be down for an hour and a half roughly, and then got to crank back up again and kind of build that same energy, I'm sure that's very challenging.
Yeah, it is. It's different.
Georgia and Tennessee coming up this weekend in Knoxville. We've got the game for you here on the Bulldogs Sports Network. 11:30 is our air time, and I believe the official kick time, 3:45, I think, is the official kick time for television and radio purposes. So we hope you can join us, and we'll get to some of your questions for Coach Kirby Smart via the social media platforms. Hashtag AskCoachSmart is how you get them to us each and every week. And we'll take some questions from our audience tonight. Our friends from Twisted Tea are here in the building, and we're glad to have them here tonight. This is Bulldogs Live, presented by Wells Fargo, an official sponsor of the Georgia Bulldogs. We'll be back with the coach right after this on the Bulldogs Sports Network. Dog fans, be sure to check out the G-Shop at GeorgiaDogs.com for exclusive releases of Nike Game Day official apparel, just like the coaches wear. Visit GeorgiaDogs.com and the G-Shop today. This is Bulldogs Live with Coach Kirby Smart, and let's get to some questions for the coach. We've got some social media questions, hashtag AskCoachSmart on the way. Right now we've got a question from our audience, and this is Jace. This is not Jace. Jace is in the back of the line. Ian, welcome to the show. Ian, go ahead with your question.
First of all, thank you for having us, Coach Smart. I know it's a busy week for you. My question to you is, what is your process for making difficult or potentially unpopular decisions? And then do you consider consider the possible future ramifications of that decision?
Yeah, I think you try to weigh that on every decision, right? Not all decisions are popular. Not all decisions are easy. But that's what leaders do. They make difficult decisions, and they move on in advance. They have a reason for what they do, and they don't sometimes worry about the fallout as much as they worry about what it takes to make the decision. So I'm big on input, taking input from my coaching staff, trying to decide what's going to give us the best opportunity to be successful and what's the good of the organization. Sometimes what's good for the organization is not good for the individual, and I found over years those two don't always coincide, but you have to make a decision, and you allow people to question it. The key ingredient is, does your organization buy into it? And if everybody buys into it and we keep on going for the greater good, then good things come out of it.
Ian, thanks for the question. We appreciate it. Thank you for being here tonight. Hashtag AskCoachSmart on the social media platforms. Let's grab a question from those. Let's see. Christopher in Commerce sent this one in, says, do you feel like we showed some physicality in the run game last week, and can we expect more of that? A two-parter.
Well, we better have physicality in every run game. I think people just equate it with, well, if you can run the ball, you're physical, and if you can't, you're not. There is a real world where you are physical and you still struggle to run the ball. It just depends on the looks you get. It depends on our ability to get movement, and it really depends on who's on the other side of that ball. And I do think that we ran the ball well and we were physical last week. We're going to always be a physical team. Doesn't mean we're always going to be able to run the ball successfully. I mean, look, I've coached a long time, and I've realized in this league, nobody comes out and just it's easy to run the ball. Because if it's easy to run the ball, the team you're playing is not very good. It's going to be hard, and you've got to be creative in ways you do it, and you've got to be persistent. And a lot of times you got to be able to win in the fourth quarter, third quarter, and be able to run the ball then. That's when it matters. Can you be physical in the fourth and move people?
Part of that physicality includes, and you've talked about this many times, but breaking tackles, continuing that run. How does this group look to you in that ability to do that, the guys you've got carrying the football right now?
Yeah, I mean, it's a big factor. Is who gets the touches is usually based on who can break tackles or, yards after contact. If a guy's not a great break tackles, but he can get contact and get 3 extra. He's hard to bring down. He gets 2 extra. These yards after contact are critical because they bring up 3rd and 3s and 4s versus 3rd, 7 and 8s. And in our league, it is a huge difference in 3rd and 3 and 4 where the whole playbook's open to you versus 3rd, 7 to 8 where it's not, and you get in obvious passing situations, and it's hard to be successful in those situations.
I think Dwight Phillips is becoming a fan favorite, certainly. What can you tell us about him? What drew you guys to him and him to the University of Georgia?
Well, speed brought us to him, and he has great charisma about him. He loves the team. He's very unselfish. He works really hard. He's continuing to work on his body and trying to bulk up and get size. You know, he can't be a workhorse back because he's 190 at max, and he's a kid that's working hard in the weight room to get stronger and faster and be able to do more things. I think, you know, everybody's excited, and so am I. I'm so excited about him. But a lot of the runs he's have been explosive runs, or they've opened up and the run games work. People are like, well, just put him in and it'll be a big play. Doesn't work that way. Doesn't work that way. I wish it did.
I think he's averaging like 10 yards a carry or close to it right now. But as you said, it doesn't just because of that he has those numbers doesn't mean that that's going to come on every carry of the football. Christopher, thanks for your question. We appreciate it. Let's see, Dan in Bishop, Georgia. How do you prepare for a rowdy road environment like you will see this weekend?
Well, you lift in the weight room. You strengthen the brain in the skull sessions. You be able to run the ball. You simulate the crowd noise. There's probably about a 60,000 different list of things you got to do to be prepared for a road game. And we've been doing it since, day one. It's year round here. It's just like me. It's like off season. It's part of what we do. We do mental training. We do physical training. We do mental toughness. We do it all to be ready for these moments. But I can't do anything but put you in the moment to see if you're prepared, because you can't simulate what they're going to have Saturday.
Saturday is Georgia and Tennessee in Knoxville. It's a 3:30-ish, 3:45, I believe, the official kick time, 3:30 for your television purposes. And we're on the air at 11:30 for our pregame show. So we'll have a full day of Georgia football coverage for you on Saturday as the Dogs and the Volunteers go at it in the SEC opener on Saturday afternoon. This is Bulldogs Live with Coach Kirby Smart. Our friends from Twisted Tea are here as our audience tonight, and our show is presented each and every week by Wells Fargo, an official sponsor of the Georgia Bulldogs. We'll step aside for just a moment, come back for more questions for the coach right after this on the Georgia Bulldogs Sports Network. Bulldogs Live with Coach Kirby Smart and your questions tonight. And Dog fans, if you're looking to elevate your game day experience, the perfect way to do that, visit UGAexperiences.com. You can be the person who retrieves the tee after a kickoff or get your picture taken with UGA on the field. These adventures are available now for the Alabama game coming up. That's the next home game. That's at UGAexperiences.com. All right, more questions for Coach Smart here as the Dogs head for Knoxville this weekend, open up SEC play on the road against the Tennessee Volunteers. Our special guest audience tonight, our friends from Twisted Tea, and this is Aaron with a question, or Aaron, as Adam told me to call him. Aaron or Aaron, go ahead with your question. Glad you're here.
Evening, Coach. Thank you for the time.
Yes, sir.
In your opinion as a head coach, how important is it to you to silence an opposing fan base early in the game, especially in a place as hostile as Neyland Stadium?
Well, it's important to silence them anytime. But, yeah, I would love to be able to go in there and just silence them in the first quarter, first half. I don't see that happening. They're not going to go away, and their players aren't going to go away. It takes 4 quarters to beat somebody on the road, and that starts with what you do in the first. It certainly helps, but I've also played in some really tough environments, and it's not going to go away. It's going to stay there, and we like to chop and just keep chopping and keep chopping and keep chopping. And we've been in some really tough environments, especially against this team, home and away. We've struggled some early in the game against them. So we've talked about that this week with our team and said, hey, look, we want it to be perfect. We want to go out there and execute. But you know what? Something's going to go wrong, so don't be disappointed when it does. What you should do is react in a positive way and affect somebody in a positive way, because taking people out of the game in the fourth is what your goal is, because you want to be more physical than them. But, yeah, I'd love to take the crowd out of the game early. I just don't think they're going anywhere.
Aaron, thanks for your question. Appreciate it tonight. Stacy in Chattanooga sent this one in, hashtag Ask Coach Smart. Is there anyone standing out on defense that comes as a bit of a surprise to you?
Well, not really. I mean, all those guys play hard. Nobody's played a considerable more amount of snaps than anyone else. So, there's guys in practice that have practiced really hard and done a good job growing up. But I wouldn't say there's anybody that's just jumped out and surprised us. I mean, the guys are fitting together, and they're doing it by committee, and nobody's jealous of anybody else, and that's been a nice blessing.
Yeah, they're all here for the same reason, right? I mean, they probably wouldn't be here if they weren't expected to do well and have success. Stacy, thanks for your question. We appreciate it. Bradley in Elberton, Georgia, wants to know what your relationship is like with Josh Heupel.
I like Josh. I think he's opened up some more over the years. First couple of times I've been on the field with him or been in meetings with him, he doesn't say a whole lot. He keeps to himself, but I think he's getting more comfortable in our league and speaking up in meetings. And then, our relationship is we're not real close. We've never been on the same staff. We don't really have connections, but I have a lot of respect for him and the way he runs his program. And they do a great job there. They're very physical.
What are some of those conversations that the coaches might have when they're all in the same room together? What are some of the topics that come up, or the conversations about anything you can share there? I guess that's mostly at the spring meetings in Destin, but
it's usually rules and decisions on what's happening with college football, the calendar, things like that.
Is there much personal stuff that goes on? I guess, if you're friendly with somebody else, I guess you share personal stuff, or you tell stories, or you talk about your family and things like that.
Yeah, we don't talk about our families in there much. not in that environment. Obviously, between meals and hanging out, we have relationships because a lot of us share similar stresses and several similar family situations, whether it's the age of our kids. And I've worked with several guys, so there's some sharing outside the business lines.
Tennessee, I believe, it still has a couple of former Georgia assistants on their
they do.
On their staff right now. Rodney Garner,
Rodney's
and
still there,
and Willie Martinez.
Yeah, they're both there.
Let's get another question from #AskCoachSmart. Les in Cartersville, Georgia. How much do you talk to our players about the history of the matchup like this?
Not much. I don't know how that's going to impact them in terms of, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, whenever it was when I was getting my ass beat up there. I mean, don't nobody care. Like nobody wants to hear that. Nobody cares. What they care about is what have you done lately. And we look at the recent matchups because there's schematic things involved in that. But outside that, it's not like it used to be where it's all about the history of it. And college football is different. The tradition is still there, and the rivalry is there for the fans, but not all the players are bought into that.
Les, we appreciate your question from Cartersville tonight. And if you've got one, you want to send it in on social media. #AskCoachSmart is how you can get them to us. We'll grab a few more questions from our audience as we move along here tonight. And when we come back, we'll look ahead to this weekend with the coach, brought to you by the Governor's Office of Highway Safety. We'll step aside for this timeout, come back for more Bulldogs Live with Coach Smart after this on the Bulldogs Sports Network. Thanks for tuning in tonight. Bulldogs Live with Coach Kirby Smart. Coming up at the top of the hour, we'll turn it over to Hondo and the Bulldogs All-Stars, another hour of Georgia football talk to get you ready and revved up for Saturday's game. Georgia going on the road to take on the Tennessee Volunteers Saturday afternoon up in Knoxville. Airtime for the radio broadcast is 11:30 Saturday morning. We hope you can be with us. Let's take a question from our audience. Our friends from Twisted Tea are here in the building tonight, and this is Jace. Hey, Jace. Welcome to the show, and go ahead with your question for Coach.
How hard do you coach the team?
Oh, Jace, you need to come to practice one day. We get after it out there, man. I appreciate your question, but we try to coach them hard, and all the coaches do, and we demand that they run to the ball and play hard, and most of the players buy into that because if you practice hard, then you play hard, and we try for that to carry over into the game.
Do you play football, Jace? No, not yet. Maybe one day.
Did you go to school today?
Yes, sir.
Good. We checked on that earlier, so we're going to check on that homework next time. I'm going to check next year.
Jace, thanks for your question. We appreciate you being here. Let's see. Angie in Atlanta sent this one in on #AskCoachSmart. She says, I know I'm biased, but don't you agree that we have the best uniforms in college football?
Absolutely. We got the traditional Great Road whites getting ready to get on, and then the home unis and the silver breeches, by far the best.
And Adam wanted to know about the black jerseys again over here.
Who?
Adam.
What does he want to know about them? they got them.
Are they still in storage?
You see them every spring. We wear them every year. Adam, we wear them every spring. What else you want?
That's all he wanted to hear. Okay, as long as they're here for spring, he's good to go.
Yeah.
Matt in Thompson, Georgia. I feel like you hear more about Tennessee's offense, but he wants to know, what is their defense like?
Really good. They are extremely physical. You know, they finished top 10, top 15 in the country last year defensively. They are really good at what they do. They have a lot of weapons. They're talented, and they play really hard. You know, I always you can tell a good defense by the way they rush on field goal block and how much care they have in terms of blocking extra points and field goals, and they come hard, and just have a lot of respect for the way they play.
You're probably quite familiar with most of their, or a good portion of their roster. They recruit heavily in the state of Georgia.
Yeah, we put a little peach sign next to every kid that's from Georgia on the depth chart we give the players, and it stood out. There were a lot of peach players, and that means they're from our state, and there was a lot of them on there.
That's our look ahead, brought to you by the Governor's Office of Highway Safety. The penalty for getting a DUI can cost up to $10,000. That's why the Governor's Office of Highway Safety says drive sober so you won't get pulled over. Georgia and Tennessee heading for their showdown on Saturday afternoon at Neyland Stadium, and I think it's the 55th meeting all time. So the two programs haven't played an abundance of games over the years. I mean, both programs are well over 100 years old, but there weren't long stretches when the two teams didn't meet, and now in the situation that we're approaching with a ninth conference game coming next year, you might see these two teams not necessarily play every year again. What is that experience going to be like if that happens?
Yeah, I don't know what it's going to be like. I guess it depends on who the other games are. You know, very well could be them, I guess. We don't really know. But in the format they have, as I understand it, we'll end up playing them pretty soon again, or it could be next year, but it's not going to be a quick cycle. So the way it looks right now in the SEC, it don't matter who you play. They're all good. I mean, people are like, somebody told me Vandy has 35 seniors or graduate students on their team. I mean, and people are trying to say that their team is like one of the bottom. I mean, it's scary, guys. Every team in our league can beat every team in our league. I 100% believe it.
Let's grab another question from hashtag Ask Coach Smart. William in Americus, Georgia, says he's making the trip all the way from South Georgia this weekend, and he wants to know what you need from the Road Dog fans this week.
Stay safe up there, man. Stay safe. Enjoy it. Stick around, stick with us. Be loud when you can. I don't know if it'll be enough to make an impact over theirs, but the biggest thing is enjoy it and stay behind us.
Maybe the noise factor is it kind of goes with taking them out of the game, as we had the question earlier. If you're able to do that earlier in the game, then that makes the Georgia fans a little bit louder, easier to hear as the game goes along. So maybe that'll be the situation. William, enjoy your trip, and as Coach says, be safe on the way to Knoxville this weekend, and let the Dogs hear you on Saturday afternoon. Grant in Bogart, Georgia, wants to know what it's like to represent your alma mater as head coach every day.
It's awesome. I mean, it's something that not many people get to say they get to do. You know, everybody graduates from a school, doesn't get to go back and be the head football coach there after they played. So there's very few of us out there. The pride that you take in it is every day. You know, I tell people all the time, it's been a hell of a ride, and I want it to continue as long as possible, and as long as you're passionate about a place that meant a lot to your family. I mean, it meant a lot to me and my wife, so I'm honored to do it every day.
Just popped into my head. You mentioned as a player going to Knoxville or playing in Tennessee. You got any memories that pop out immediately of the years that you played here against the Tennessee Volunteers?
Here at home?
When you were a player,
when I was here.
Either here or
Yeah,
there.
I talked about it before in the week. The memories are we didn't win. That's the memory I have. So, like, I always tell the players, you're not going to remember what you did the night before, the night after the game and all that. You're going to remember how you played and what the outcome of the game was. So, focus on that, and that tends to help you play better. And we didn't win many.
So make the memory a victory, and then you'll recall it better when you're our age, right?
That's right.
Or my age, anyway. All right. Thanks, Coach. This is Bulldogs Live with Coach Kirby Smart. We've got a few more questions for Kirby tonight from our audience and from the social platforms, #AskCoachSmart. And we'll do that in just a moment. We'll step aside for these words on the Georgia Bulldogs Sports Network. Thanks for being here tonight. Bulldogs Live with Coach Kirby Smart, presented by Wells Fargo. Wells Fargo, an official sponsor of the Georgia Bulldogs. And we're also glad to have our friends from Twisted Tea here tonight as our guest audience. And this is it Brock? Brock, what's your question for the coach? Welcome to the show, by the way.
Hey, Coach. Heading out of Austin last year, you mentioned that our intent was to eat. Is there a new phrase that you were embedding into the team while walking into Neyland?
Well, we've had a phrase all year about fire, passion, and energy. That's been a big part of college football and our theme. Not so much one this week. I mean, that theme of the Austin really came more out as people, questioned the purpose of the team, the purpose of the trip, and that game uniquely was a different kind of setting. It was like a weird feeling in that stadium, where this is, familiar foe, somebody we've played on the SEC East for a long time, a really hard place to play. Really young football team going into a tough environment, so it should create for great energy, enthusiasm. But there's nothing just it's a mantra that we're going in there with. We'll see what we come out with.
Brock, thanks for your question tonight. Appreciate it. Dale and Dunwoody sent this one in. #AskCoachSmart on social. What was the major takeaway from the Austin Peay game that maybe fans wouldn't have picked up on?
Well, I think there's a lot of things fans don't pick up on, but there was a lot of positive in it. A lot of people wanted to, talk about the before the half. I mean, the good thing is we really managed that well from the clock to get all the snaps we did. We thought that the clock management gave us every way possible, which is a positive because, you can mess it up as a quarterback or as a offense and not manage the clock well, or even as a coach. When you don't have any timeouts and you're in that situation, you have to be careful that you don't get stuck with nothing. And I thought we managed that well. We just unfortunately didn't get it in. But there were a lot of positives about some of the things we did in the first half and second half, and defensively as well, to get a turnover. I mean, there's a lot of good things that came out of it, and that's what we tried to talk to the players about and build on those things and improve the bad things.
Mike in Athens had a similar question about he says, can you use the coming up short at the goal line at the end of the half as motivation for the rest of the season?
Well, yeah, absolutely you can, but you also can learn from it that it doesn't matter who you line up across from. We had that last year. We've had multiple times where we've either scored on 4th and goal or given up a score. And, people harp on that, but we had a huge 4-play sequence where we didn't let them score. And I think way too many times people don't realize how hard that is to do. I don't care who you're doing it against. It's difficult.
Gary in Columbus, Georgia, wants to know how excited the team is to play one on the road.
Oh, it's good to get away and get in that environment. It's what you play the game for, is to play in these kind of games. And to have those butterflies, I think our guys get excited about that. And you find out a lot about your team. There's somebody's going to make a incredible probably error, and you're going to be like, what made him do that? And sometimes it's the anxiety, but there are also going to be guys that play and have elite moments. I mean, you think about the years we've played there and some of the great performances that guys have had, and that's what you remember.
And there's a lot that goes into getting these guys from point A to point B. It's a big group to move around. Not only the team, but everybody that's affiliated and associated with the team. And this is your first chance this year to reapply that process. And hopefully you got a lot of guys that have moved all the equipment. They drive the trucks and get everything there in time. And then all the there's so much that goes into just playing a game on the road here that maybe a lot of people don't really take into consideration, isn't there?
Yeah, a lot of it I don't take into consideration because I don't have anything to do with it. So I focus on the team and how we play, but there's tons that goes into it that I have no part of. Like a lot of stuff you're talking about, I have no part of it, and I don't want any part of it because I want my focus to be on how we play, what we call, who we play, and those things.
Let's see if we got time for another question. Let's tell you what. Let's take a break right now. We'll come back with Coach for one more segment before we turn it over to the Bulldogs All-Stars at the top of the hour, and they'll take you up until 9 o'clock tonight. We'll get a couple more questions in for the coach on the other side of this break. This is Bulldogs Live with Coach Kirby Smart. Back after this on the Bulldogs Sports Network. Bulldogs Live presented by Wells Fargo each and every week, an official sponsor of the Georgia Bulldogs. And Georgia fans, if you want to do an NIL deal with a dog, you can go to georgiadogs.com/NIL. To connect with a student-athlete on a sponsorship, a commercial, an appearance, autograph session, and more, georgiadogs.com/NIL is how you do that. We've got one more question from our audience. Tell us your name and what's your question for the coach?
I'm Bo Hutchinson. I'm a 5th grader at Freemansville Elementary School, and my question is, Coach Smart, how well do you think Gunnar Stockton will do against Tennessee?
I'm excited to see him go play, Bo. I can't wait. He's worked all his life for this opportunity. He's worked all for 3 years really here, and he's excited. He's had some juice this week, and he's fired up. So I can't wait to see him go play. It won't be him by himself whether he plays great, and it won't be him by himself if he makes mistakes because it takes all 11, and we need everybody to play well around him. But he's a guy that's always going to give credit to everybody else, and he always takes the blame when it doesn't go our way, and I'm just glad he's our quarterback.
Thanks for your question. Appreciate it. Glad you guys are here tonight. Let's see. We've got one more from hashtag Ask Coach Smart. Jacob in Athens, Coach, wants to know if you feel like you have more memories of Tennessee because they were a consistent opponent in your time at Alabama.
Yeah, that's probably true. I think them and Auburn, right, have been consistent throughout the time I've been in the SEC for 20-something consecutive years. I think it's 10 and 10, and I think that's the team that's the two teams that have overlapped the most. I guess I'm saying that right. I don't know. But those two places I've been to a lot, and, argumentatively, you would say those are the two hardest places to play in the SEC because we don't go to some places, neutral site with Florida, and we don't go to some of the other places, but those would be really hard places to play.
You said earlier the week of practice was good. What's been the energy level and the excitement level from your guys as far as you can read them in getting ready for this game?
Oh, it's been good. I mean, I'll be honest, that question's hard because I think it's good every week. Like I don't know that I've ever had a week where I said, oh, man, they were lethargic. They didn't – the guys' practice can get tough sometimes because it's, you get in a routine. But we try to change that up. We have leadership guys talk to the team about the importance of it. They handle that the right way. But it has no bearing on the game. I'd like to say it does. The bearing on the game is how we play on that day and how we prepared. And I feel good about the preparation we've had.
About 30 seconds to go here. What are 2 or 3 things you want to see from your guys to have success?
Yeah, I want to see them respond and be there for each other. Look, the outcome is the outcome. We're process oriented. We want to go about it the right way. I want to see composure. I want to see guys that don't lose their composure and make stupid mistakes and stupid penalties. But that's really all I'm judging it on because the kids are going to play hard. Like both teams are going to play hard. There's nothing guys that don't play hard. We're going to play hard. I want to see guys go out and compete and keep their composure and play a Georgia brand of football that we've come to expect.
Kirby, thanks for your time as always. Good to see you on this Thursday night. Good luck this weekend.
Yes, sir. Thank you, and go Dogs.
All right, that's Coach Kirby Smart with us here, taking your questions tonight.